You're probably familiar with the saying, for every body on Mount Everest, there was once a highly motivated person. But how many people have passed away while trying to climb Mount Everest? About 320. But how many are still up there? Over 200. And today we're going to talk about one of the most well-known and infamous bodies still on Mount Everest. Indian mountaineer Swang Palor, aka Green Boots. For many mountaineers, Mount Everest is like the final Dark Souls boss of mountains. Between the high altitude, freezing cold, unpredictable weather, and low oxygen, it is one of the most dangerous mountains on Earth. Because of these conditions, only about 7,500 individuals have made it to the summit in the past century. And in spring 1996, Swang Palor was ready to face the challenge that is Mount Everest. See, Swang was already a very accomplished mountaineer. He'd been born in a mountainous village called Sangti, which is about 12,000 feet above sea level. That's more than double the altitude of Denver, Colorado. Mountaineering was his entire life, which led him to pursue a career with the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, a career I had never thought about. There are border police in the highest, most dangerous mountains in the world. Imagine being a police officer and your job anytime anyone dies in high altitude is to figure out, was it an avalanche or murder? Patrolling and protecting the 2,167-mile border between India and China only sharpened his skills and increased his confidence. And in 1996, Palor was selected to be part of a 6-person all-Indo-Tibetan border police team that had the intent of scaling Mount Everest. With no guides and no Sherpas, this team was going to scale Mount Everest, solidifying them as some of the greatest mountain border police officers in the world. But here's the thing about chasing glory and immortality. If you chase it, you can't act surprised when it finds you. Leaving base camp May 10th, 1996, the team was the first team of the year to ascend Mount Everest on the north face. Because they were the first team of the year to go up the mountain, it was their job to survey and fix any lines that had been damaged or broken over the winter. Because of this, it was going to take them longer to get to the top and back down. That afternoon, a blizzard would hit the mountain, causing the slow journey to the top to take even longer due to very limited visibility. Because of the blizzard, 3 of the 6-man team decided to turn back around. By the time they made it back to base camp, many of them were already suffering of frostbite, but 3 of them continued to the top. Pajor, a mountaineer named Morab, and the expedition leader named Samanla, an accomplished mountaineer in his own right who had already climbed to the top of Everest in 1986, continued on to the top. Around 5 p.m. local time, while still being pummeled by this blizzard, the team radioed down that they had reached the summit. The plan was to place prayer flags and katas at the top before beginning their descent. With it already being in the late afternoon, this delayed the descent even more, making it just that much more dangerous on the trip back down. That night, climbers at base camp reported seeing 2 headlamps descending down the mountain, but no climbers ever made it back to base camp, so assumably all 3 of these mountaineers perished that night. To add insult to injury, May 11th, numerous climbers went to the top and back down and did not report seeing any climbers during their ascent or descent. So how is this possible? Because it's believed that during the blizzard, the hikers thought they were at the summit, but they might have actually been on a ridge 150 feet below the summit, meaning they never actually made it to the top. Eventually, a body was found in a limestone alcove that was believed to be Swang Palor and was given the nickname Green Boots due to the bright green boots that the remains were wearing. And Green Boots and Green Boots Cave became a major landmark for individuals climbing up Mount Everest on the north face. Green Boots Cave is located about 1,200 feet from the summit. And you might be asking yourself, why don't they just move the body? Well, again, because of how dangerous it is due to the low oxygen and freezing cold temperatures, it is nearly impossible to remove some of these bodies from Mount Everest. A lot of these bodies can weigh as much as 300 pounds. And it's not just like the body is laying on the mountain. In many cases, they are physically frozen to the mountain. I don't want to get too graphic here, but you know when like you find some hamburgers in the back of your freezer and they've become freezer burn and they're like fused together and you have to take a knife or spatula and like break them apart? Imagine that. But we're not talking about hamburgers. And Green Boots isn't without their fair share of controversies. Many have claimed that Green Boots might not be the remains of Pelor at all, but the remains of Marup, one of the other members of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police Expedition in 1996 that continued to the summit despite the blizzard. Another controversy associated with Green Boots is he might have posthumously had a role in killing a guy. Yeah, Green Boots might have played a role in the 2006 death of mountaineer David Sharp. Sharp's story deserves its own video, and if this one does well and there's enough interest in it, I will definitely do a story covering David Sharp. Long story short, David Sharp wanted to climb Mount Everest by himself. Absolutely no help. No radio, no satellite phone, no supplemental oxygen. While it's been debated whether or not he made it to the summit or not, during his descent, David Sharp, already suffering of severe frostbite and oxygen deprivation, decided to stop into Green Boots Cave to rest. That same day, more than 40 hikers would pass Green Boots Cave, seeing David Sharp, but assuming it was the remains of Green Boots. The entire time, David Sharp was still alive. But due to the dangers associated with moving the still alive body of David Sharp, most of the mountaineers just passed him by, either assuming him dead or refusing to render aid. In 2014, it was reported that Green Boots' body had disappeared from Mount Everest, either being moved by Chinese officials or being knocked off the side of the mountain by extreme weather. Do you know how horrifying? Remember when I said that these bodies can weigh up to 300 pounds? Imagine a storm violent enough to just whoop, throw that thing off the side. He had been frozen there for 18 years. Remember the hamburger? And now 18 years of that. But in 2017, multiple hikers reported, due to thawing associated with climate change, Green Boots is still there. He is visible again. The king is back. I know it's kind of messed up to joke about things like this, but it is an absolutely fascinating topic that I have been obsessed with for decades. In 1999 or 2000, I got to go on a school trip to the Carnegie Science Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where they had an IMAX theater that showed a documentary about the expedition season of 1996, which for a while was the deadliest year on Mount Everest in history. And ever since then, I've been fascinated not just by Everest, but by a lot of the accidents and tragedies associated with trying to make it to the summit. So I hope you found this topic as interesting as I have. And if you like this, let me know. I'll do more videos. There's a lot of other fascinating doomed expeditions up and down Mount Everest that I would love to do videos about. But if there's any other weird, macabre, or mysterious topics you would like for me to talk about, let me know down in the comments. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if it's something that interested you. Until next time, don't forget to stay wild, stay wonderful. I'll be staying away from Mount Everest. But as always, I'll talk to you in the next video.